Hello, friends. How you doing this morning? So I wanted to tackle a topic that I'm hearing more and more, and that is, should I buy real estate now? And if you've watched this channel for a while, you know about 6 or 9 months ago, one of the things I highlighted to watch for is the sentiment of the talking heads on TV, right? Basically, are they positive or negative real estate? And I think what's happening today, or right around now, is they're getting more and more negative on the economy. That is going to have impacts on the stock market, and ultimately, impacts on discretionary spending. And we could talk ourselves into a recession, which would obviously impact real estate, at least at some level. But when you think about the question of should I buy real estate, I think you need to go through kind of four questions. Then I'm going to talk about what we've done over 15 years or 16 years now. And then finally, sort of talk about my thoughts on what we do, what we recommend, what I teach as far as real estate investing goes. So let's go. So when I think about should I buy real estate now, I think there's four questions you should ask yourself. The first one is, what are you buying, right? Are you buying an owner-occupied house? Is it your first time? Are you moving up? Are you buying, that $5 million mansion on the coast? What is it that you're buying, right? Is it an apartment building? Is it a duplex? Because I think the answer of should I buy real estate now depends on what you're buying. So what do I mean? I think I've been pretty clear on this channel. If you are buying something 2x the median for your market, I think that is risky. So if your median in your market's 115 grand and you're buying a $300,000 house, right, owner occupied, I think that's risky, at least in my opinion today, right? Because that's discretionary. You don't have to. There are other options. The supply of, how do you get out if you have to get out is small, especially in a downturn. So I think there are some parts of the market that are very risky. If you're buying an investment house, in a median like Fresno, it's 260, and you're buying something below 200, and you can't build anything for less than 300. I think you're really safe, right? I think you're buying it with cash flow in mind. History says people need to rent more. Rents, occupancy, and all of that go up when the downturn comes. So, that question of should I buy real estate now really depends on what you're buying. So, I think there are some areas where sure you should be careful today. I don't know that I would plunk down a $5 million on a big home today. I think that could be cheaper in the future. The other one is, where are you buying, right? Are you buying in the high-priced locales like the Silicon Valley or San Francisco or Orange County or Manhattan or other areas, right? I think there are some areas, some locales that have stretched the affordability to unhealthy levels, San Francisco being the most obvious, I think, in my opinion. I think they are one hiccup away from significant drops. I've gotten some chatter on this post about, and there's no way that the Bay Area could see a 20% decline. And I think you're wrong. I think there are lots of ways you could see a 20% decline, especially when you look at the math, right? If the high end falls, but while the low end stays safe, it's still going to contract the median number. So just one of those economic, or statistics that can kind of get skewed if the high end really gets hit hard, as I'm seeing. But if you're buying in a tertiary city, still growing, you're still buying below replacement cost, right? They can't build for that. Again, I think you're safe. So I think there are some markets, I think, that are ripe for a contraction. Probably not great investment markets, but that's the case. The third question is, what's your hold period, right? Even if you're buying a $5 million mansion, but if your intention is to live there for 50 years, it doesn't matter, right? You're going to get a low interest rate today. You should get fixed rate debt. And sure, it could be worth less in 3 years, but your plan's 50 years. So it just doesn't matter. If your hold period is kind of less than 10 years or certainly 5 years, I think you need to look at yourself, and maybe renting is a better option, because the transaction costs and all of that involved in real estate, if you're going to get in and out in 5 years, is, probably not a good idea. And there's nothing wrong today with renting, and not that there's ever been anything wrong, but I think there's so many areas of the country where renting is the better financial move. You get better flexibility. You can, all of those things. So, I think that's going lots of different directions. And then what's your options for when you exit, right? Just to go back to the example of the $5 million mansion on the coast. If that's what you're buying and you need to get out, your pool of buyers is nothing, right? And especially in the downturn, it's probably less than nothing. But if you're buying affordable houses, the 3-2, 2-car garage, 3-1s, whatever they are, and you need to get out for some reason, you can sell to other landlords and you can sell to other owner occupants, right? So your pool of potential buyers is much larger. So your risk is spread. So I think those are the 4 questions you need to ask yourself when someone generically says, should I be buying real estate today? What is it you're buying? Where are you buying? What's your hold period? And then what's your options to exit? So now let's talk about what we've done, right? We wrote about it in this book. If you haven't read it, go to Amazon, get a section or get a purchase, because it is our story over 15 years. But what you'll recall in that book is we didn't try to time the market, right? We were active that whole period except for 2. When the market rolled over back in, call it 08, 09, and suddenly the MLS had big capital letters that said must sell, any offer reviewed, all of that stuff. We got scared. We didn't know what was going on. We'd never experienced that, obviously. And frankly, I'd never read about it. I've read books that were written in the Depression, and I don't remember reading things like that because the lending was different back then. But we got nervous. We kept looking, but we didn't buy anything for 6 to 8 months. We didn't even make offers for 6 to 8 months. And it was really good we did, because obviously that decline started and got nasty. But again, we didn't try to call the bottom. We started to get in when we could buy. We bought a house for 107, sold for 260, and when that house was suddenly, or a house like it was selling for below 100, we started buying because we didn't know where the bottom was. In this case, that house went all the way down to 75, so we were buying on the way down. The second pause button we had was we were buying actively for almost 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. And overnight, something changed. And we were going from finding, 3 to 5 properties a day to write offers on to nothing. And what happened is the hedge funds, or very deep pockets, started coming in and buying everything sight unseen. And again, we'd never seen that before. It was so different than what we'd experienced for 30 months that we, again, took a pause button. And that was clearly the bottom. And it ricocheted off the bottom really fast. So that was our story. So the point of that is, if you're buying investments and you're buying for cash flow, unless there's something catastrophic, which doesn't often happen in real estate, we don't try to time the market. If the numbers make sense, and we talk about the numbers in the course and how we help people figure out their markets and all of that stuff, it's when you're in the market and you do what we talk about, right? What we teach, you're going to be okay, right? You're going to be buying something you're going to conservatively finance. And the good news is you're building this history and this work in your market. So there you go. So here's the deal, right? Here's my thoughts on should you be buying real estate today. So first off, if you're buying owner occupant stuff, I'm not going to give opinion other than, see what I said in the first section. I think owner occupant purchases are very personal. And, that who am I to say, right? I don't know your situation, don't know your Kyle, don't know anything. So I'm going to take that off. But if you're buying investment properties and you're buying for cash flow, right? And you can buy something that's below the median, and you can get fixed rate debt with a 3 or a 4 on it. I don't see how you get hurt. Right? You're very conservatively financed. I would certainly recommend buying, I know people call them turnkey. I call them pride of ownership rentals, because you want to have that low fixed rate debt finance the repairs. And, that's a mistake I made, and we talk about in the book. I talk a lot about in the course is do the math, right? Should I buy a junker or should I buy something perfect? As I talk about in the course, do the math. And what you'll see most of the time is the math says a cleaner property is better for you. Because again, especially today with a 4% interest rate, you're going to finance repair costs and let the bank fund that and let the tenants pay it off. It's kind of the best of both worlds. So in my opinion, if you're buying affordable homes kind of below the median in your market, go for it. right? I think today with fixed rate debt, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you're gonna be loving life, because interest rates eventually have to go up, I would think. Um, if you're buying on spec, right? You're trying to buy, hey, I'm going to buy the 400K new build and, Airbnb it or some kind of other speculation. I'd be very nervous today. I think anything that's discretionary, like Airbnb or like travel or something of that nature, is this is probably not the time. Let alone legislation in locales and cities and counties getting more aggressive on that behavior. So, um, I think when you think about should you buy, I think there's absolutely a set of properties. And again, we did it for 15 years. It's how we retired. Below the median, fully remodeled, pride of ownership rentals. So if you have any questions, let me know. Leave your comments below. If you want to get on our buyers list, send us an email at mzuber@onerental@a-time. If you want to talk about our program or whatnot, go ahead and check it out. There'll be a link in the description below. But again, now's the time to learn, because anytime the talking heads get nervous, some people get nervous and they sell lower, or they don't, this, competition stops. So this is the best time to kind of get your feet wet, figure it out, spend 30 days kind of learning your market. And I'm sure I can help you make some good investments. So at the end, those are my thoughts. Have a great day.